Welcome back to Lower Keys Living, everybody. Thanks for joining in today. Hope you had a great 4th of July as well. Today's video, we're going to take you out to some of my favorite inshore, close to shore lobster spots that are going to be off limit or closed during mini sports season. You are not allowed to lobster in here 3 days prior to mini season, the 2 days of mini season, and the first 5 days of regular season. But for those of you coming down outside of mini season, these are obviously great places to get lobster during the entire season. I frequent these a lot. So I can take you out, show you the lobsters. For everybody, I think you're going to be amazed at how many lobsters we're going to show you here in a short amount of time. So first thing I'm going to do, show you on a map exactly where we went and give you some of my other favorite places where I like to lobsters in channels. Then we're going to take you out, show you the lobsters and how excited we are to see how healthy the local bays are here and just how abundant the life is here in the bays. So stay tuned. Even though you can't lobster in these places during mini season, stay tuned, take a look at these spots. It'll get you excited because the number of lobsters we're seeing here in close is exactly what we're seeing out in all our favorite lobster locations that you can get out to during mini season. So stay tuned. Hope to enjoy this week's episode. All right, let's just jump right into this. So for point of reference, last night we were over in this area that I marked out here. So you'll see that where we show the lobster on the ledge along the channel is right in here. Some of the sheet metal roofing pieces we found were in this area. And one of the things I do really want to emphasize is that these places are off limits during mini season. So actually the first 3 days before mini season, during mini season, and the first 5 days of a regular season, you're not allowed to lobster in these canals or within 300 feet of developed shoreline in residential or commercial areas. So just picture a football field length out all the way around. No matter where you're at, that is off limits for lobstering during mini season. Florida Wildlife Fish FWC is really strict about enforcing that. So be careful with what you're doing and where you are, and know your rules and regulations out here. And they do this for safety because mini season is crazy busy and you would not want to be lobstering in these canals, even if you could. So again, those lobsters in the video you're about to see was shot in this area. I'm going to show you a close-up of this area here, which was one of my favorite areas and one of the first areas I started lobstering in close to shore. So let's just jump over to that. So again, here we are. If you are coming out here, you can reach this easily by paddleboard or kayak, and very easy access in here by boat, and almost any size boat you can get in here. So if you're coming in between Ramrod and Summerlin Key, out on the corner, there's a couple of bully stakes out here. I believe there's 2 at the entrance and another one sits on this corner. And then this house right down here, I always look for this pinkish orange house here that's under development right on the corner. So one of the first places I noticed right along this ledge coming in here, there's loads of lobsters and just lots of good ledges all the way around these channels out here. And I like this area because it does not get a lot of boat traffic out here at this end. Have found a few little holes and ledges out beyond this area, but most of the lobstering I do is in here and along the edges of these canals. The next one I wanted to share with you, if you're down here during regular season, this is Cudjoe Gardens. This is the Cudjoe Gardens Boat Marina and boat launch. So you can put in your boats, paddleboards, kayaks right here. And it's another cool spot. This is a big hangout for manatee. They're not always there, but I'd say 80% of the time I'm over there, there's manatee hanging out in here. And this gives you great access right out into Bow Channel, which gives you easy access to the Gulf of Mexico or to the Atlantic. Where I like to lobster in this area are these canals out here along these ledges. Out in here, these are nice deep cut ledges, deep canals with lots of ledges, lots of overhangs. They hold a lot of lobster. And I like hitting these at sunset because then I'm not even needing to go in the canal. A lot of times the lobster at sunset, they just start coming out to come up onto the grass to look for food. So great areas, easy access, and just a pretty spot to be in. Then my last spot, if you are a paddleboarder or kayaker looking to lobster, this road right here, this is Spanish Main Boulevard coming down, and at the very end there is a public pathway that cuts between Venture out over here and these private residences. There is public access to the ocean right in here. So you can come down with your paddle boards, kayaks, and just jump right in. You can actually, there's lobster close enough in here where you come down with your fins, mask, snorkel, and your lobster gear and come right out. But again, this is an off-limits area during just before mini season, during mini season, and the first 5 days of regular season. But you can actually see in this area how well cut out these ledges are along in here. And again, I do like coming out here around sunset. The lobsters are starting to get a little more active and starting to come out. And once they come out and they're up here in the grass fields, they are so much easier to catch than rather than trying to dig them out of those ledges. So that's it. I'm going to take you out underwater right now, show you everything we saw last night. Hope you enjoy it, and we will see you out on the water. All right, as I've said before, I love coming out here at sunset. It is the most active time for the lobsters. And this first canal, I'm going to check out really shallow right here, just a few inches deep. And I did not plan this. This is my first trip over the ledge, and I come over. First thing I see is this guy right here. Here is lobster number 1. And I'll keep count of these as I go down and back. There's lobster number 2. And I'm just staying at the first 1 or 2 ledges along it here. This goes down quite a bit deeper, but I've got my boat shoes on. There is number 3. But those boat shoes don't let me dive down. They are super buoyant. So that's why I'm not going down deep. I'll try and show you some shots over the ledge here. We just passed over one that was number 4. And then coming up to this next ledge, here is number 5. You can see these guys are all starting to come out. Again, it's that sunset time. This is when they start heading out and start feeding up on the grass out in the bay. There's number 6 tucked right in there. There's number 7, and then 8 and 9 right in there. And you see everything looks nice and healthy in here. We've been super pleased with the look of the bay. And there's another one, there's number 10 right there. So this is all within about a 15-foot span on this ledge. I'm just going to spin around, go back along these again, do another recount on the way back. But here you'll get a good look at how deep this is and how far down these ledges go. So you can dive down and there's lobster stacked all the way. So there's one right underneath me. You can see his antenna. And there's actually 2, 3 in there, plus a spider crab. There's another one right there. I did not get a good shot of them, so that's number 4 on the way back. Here's number 5. This fish is going to check him out. There's number 6. He is really tucked in there under the weeds. And our water's been cloudy. There's 7 and 8. And look in there, there's another spider crab. There's a sea urchin in there. So it was just a quick trip along. Wanted to show you why I like this channel lobstering so much, because there's such an abundant. They're replenishing themselves all the time. And again, those are off limit. You are not allowed to catch lobster during mini season in any of the channels or canals. One of the reasons I wear boat shoes all the time are these guys. Those are little jellyfish. They just lay upside down with their tentacles sticking up. And they don't really burn, but it causes a little itchiness on my feet, so I wear those boat shoes. Another thing that we love seeing, and we've been seeing a lot of all season long, is an abundance of starfish. So there's a couple different types of starfish I'll show you right here, but it's just a good sign of good, healthy bays. They feed on the clams, shellfish. Here's a nice orange one. And we've just been seeing so many of these, which, you know, we've seen them in the past, but not in the abundance they've been. So just a good sign of a healthy ecosystem within the bays. Now this guy is one of the biggest ones I've seen down here. He was just enormous. These guys will live up to 35 years, and you'll see I put my hand over him. Just it doesn't do it justice how big this one is. I was trying to do that to give you a little perspective. We never touch them. We never pick them up. We leave them be. They're down here eating the clams and shellfish and enjoying themselves, and they're just beautiful. So nice to take your time and look around. And again, one of the reasons I like coming out around sunset is these lobsters are coming out. They've been in hiding all day. They're hungry, and they just come out here in the grass to start hunting their own shellfish, eating algae. So they're great, and this is the easiest way to catch them. They're unaware, easy to drop your net over them. So this is, to me, the most perfect time to be out lobstering. I wanted to share this with you. We came across this pile of housing. It's been in here. It looks like it's been here for a few years, but look at all the lobsters. If that shot doesn't get you excited to be out here during lobster season, I don't know what will. Take a look at these guys. And I couldn't even begin to count the lobsters on this pile. I hadn't found or seen this pile before. Don't get to this area a lot, but this was just packed. Now this one, you would not be allowed to take lobsters from this during mini season because this pile was inside of 300 feet. This might have been, I estimate, about 100, 150 feet offshore. So this would have been off limits for this. And I don't know if they consider this artificial habitat and if this would be off limit year round. But I will check with Fish and Game and see what their theory is, because I know people aren't allowed to drop items in specifically as lobster habitat for catching lobsters. This is stuff that obviously blew out here during one of the big storms, hurricanes. But again, just jam-packed with lobsters. A lot of these roof piles around that I've seen before, not this particular one. There's a lot of it around just from all the hurricanes and roofs getting ripped off, and they end up out here in the bay. You can see this guy, he was leaving. He was on his way out for dinner. This guy had already checked out. He was on his way in, but you see he's got his antennas cranked over to protect himself from me, on his way out for dinner. And again, I love, look how tall and thick this seagrass is. This is just a really good sign for a nice, healthy bay and ecosystem here in the bay. So I think everybody should be really excited about their lobster season coming up. Stay tuned. We got more tips for catching more lobsters this year.